Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to game number 4, cast number 4 today. We are in series number 2, series 4, game D. I love it. They title every day. It keeps the organization up. This is mTw versus TongFu. I am Luminous from dotacommentaries.com. Joining me alongside LD from dotacommentaries.com as well. TongFu just thrashed on mTw. It was not even close. And now we're going to game 2.
Yeah, I hope mTw had a chance to get some bandages, some band-aids, and some first aid ointment, because that was about as painful of a beatdown as I've ever seen. Most of the heroes that were in that game are available. I guess the one notable hero that's not right now is Prophet, who is getting banned out by mTw. They were happy to take it for themselves. They do not want to give it away. Who does that leave for us in the pool? Anybody that you have your eyes on right now?
Rubik is a hero that it's been impressing me so much, especially I saw the power of the hero in the WE versus Mouse lineup. Although I'm not too sure whether any of these teams could fit the Rubik. Rubik, I mean, even as a support hero, requires quite a bit of farm. But TongFu banning their own lone druid, this is awkward.
Yeah, definitely a little bit awkward, and it looks like our stream is still wrong on Dota 2. So guys, if anybody's wondering where our stream is, please let them know. Twitch.tv/Luminous Inverse. Broodmother is the final ban, like you mentioned. Lone Druid got banned out as well. A lot of pushing heroes, a lot of heroes that can spread the map. Good laning heroes are the choice of bans here for both teams. It leaves so much in the pool, though, in terms of team fight, in terms of nuke and burst damage, in terms of gank, and it is Rubik. Wow, even worth the first pick in TongFu's eyes. What is mTw going to get in return? We'll have to see. The one other hero I would not be surprised at all if TongFu claim, maybe not right now, but maybe in that 3rd, 4th, or 5th pick, is a Shadow Shaman. They love to run Rubik and Shadow Shaman as their 2 supports. Those heroes scale so well if they get farm, if they get items, or if they get some levels as well. And TongFu is a team that if you leave them to their devices, they are quite content to do double, triple pulling and really get ahead in that respect.
The reason that I personally feel Rubik, excuse me, deserves a high pick, and they do pick it very high here, is because it's somewhat restrictive for your enemy what they can pick into. Brewmaster is certainly not a very good choice anymore if you see a Rubik early. Enigma's Black Hole can be easily stolen. We saw Lacoste stealing it and using it against Lacoste, or against M5 team many times. It's just so restrictive. Like, now you have to kind of worry about what you pick into, what spells you could be stealing. For now, I mean, even with the 2 heroes that he's facing up against, if you can steal Venomancer wards, that's pretty good. Like, that's either a pushing mechanism or that's a defensive mechanism. It's all good for Rubik, and he's going to steal more very, very potent spell as the game progresses.
Indeed, indeed. And for TongFu, I guess 2 of the big heroes that are available that I'm thinking they might have their eyes on are Sandkin and Leshrac. We saw the power of that Leshrac in the last game. And 10k to set him up. I mean, then think about the initiation. No, Morphling, that's probably going to be, almost certainly going to be played by Hao. I've seen Hao go solo mid on Morphling many times. A lot of the Chinese teams favor that. Buy a Wraith Band with the Morphling, pull a bunch of regen. Sometimes even start with Morph at level 1, morph some points of strength into agility, and then just dominate that lane 1v1. Invoker probably will be the mid hero for mTw, and if it is, that's a lane that Morphling could definitely win. In fact, I don't have the numbers on hand, but from games I've watched anecdotally, I think Morphling's won about 75 of those lanes. Even if he doesn't get kills, he outfarms the Invoker. So we'll see where they want to go, but they get a Tidehunter. And now, if mTw try and counter this Tidehunter with any kind of team fight of their own, like you said, there's a Rubik there to punish it. Yep,
and depending on how this Tidehunter is going to be played, whether a support Tide or a solo Tide, if he gets that quick level 6, TongFu is going to be coming with those sledgehammers again very, very fast. But mTw goes with the jungle, and the jungle play is actually very powerful. Defensively on Chen, they're very good as well. The sent back, the Hand of God as well. I'm very surprised though we don't see a Shadow Demon being picked up. Shadow Demon combines so well with Chen. Holy Persuasion, you start it up and then you disrupt that hero. That hero is for sure saved. No ways about it. And of course, Shadow Demon sets up a very high Exhort Invoker hitting accuracy when he's going for the Sunstrike. So maybe they're going to go for Quas Wex. Is that what they're thinking? Or they just don't value the Shadow Demon as high as a Venomancer?
I assume it's going to be Synderen playing this, and every time he's played it, it's. I feel Synderen is a player who doesn't have any, like a lot of Invoker players, like Denny for example. Denny really favors the Exhort style. I've seen him play Wex before, but he really prefers Exhort. For me, Synderen is probably the most balanced Invoker player in terms of how often he goes Exhort, how often he goes Wex, and I really think you need EMP Tornado against TongFu's lineup. I mean, they're so good if they have mana to cast their spells. I also don't see much in terms of other lockdown for mTw. But maybe that's not how they want to play it. Maybe they just want to get early kills with the Venomancer or the Chen, get a hard carry you can spread the map out, or some sort of aggressive tower diving hero. I just feel like mTw have a lot of ground to cover in these last 2 picks, whereas for TongFu, they have so many options for what they want to do. Is there any? I feel like there's a big hero we're missing that hasn't been banned yet. Tinker, you mentioned.
I think you need to ban Tinker because I feel like TongFu with this lineup, they have some difficulty walking up that ramp, and you don't want to walk up any ramp against Tinker because you can't.
Yeah, Tinker would be a great ban, especially against mTw. They certainly love to run the hero. And if you get Sunstrike on Invoker, great global potential. Chen, semi-global as well. I mean, he's got the global heal. He's not going to give you much damage, but that's an option. Are we going to see something a little bit different for either of these teams? I'm wondering if someone's got like sort of a, we know every team is pocket strats. So the question becomes, do you want to pull any of those out to improve your positioning? Or would you rather risk dropping into the lower bracket when the tournament starts, having to slog your way through best out of ones until the last 2 rounds of the lower bracket? It's early to think about that, but you dig yourself enough of a hole in group stage play, it might be too late to get yourself out of it. So we'll see if either team wants to do something unconventional, but it wouldn't surprise me too much if they start to do so.
I don't think at this point you start, going for should we let out or unleash our secret strat, because if you unleash your secret strat on the, the latter end of the loser bracket, people are going to still see your strat, right? And you still have to play through a whole bunch of games. I think teams they're going to just play their best, hope for the best, hope they win every single game, and start at a very, very high portion of that winner bracket. But for now, the pick is back to the Radiant side, and TongFu is running out of time.
Something that TongFu might have their eyes on, I believe, is Bounty Hunter. They love to run Bounty Hunter in the off lane. They're up against a Chen, but aside from that, there's not really any other heroes that are amazing pushing heroes. So I think if they want to pick Bounty Hunter, throw him at the off lane. I have seen them put Tidehunter there as well, so that's another option. They could even run an offensive tri-lane now with the Morphling, Tidehunter, Enchantress, maybe even the Rubik there as well. But for TongFu, this Enchantress pick gives them so many options. I'm not convinced they're going to try and contest mTw's jungle. I haven't seen TongFu go for that too often, but if they want to do so, they have the option. So I like the Enchantress pick. It frees up a lane for them, allows Rubik, Morphling, Tidehunter get a little bit more farm, a little bit more in terms of levels. And this last pick is wide open for both teams.
Definitely. I love the fact that the Enchantress is the 4th pick here. It really gives us that jungle on jungle action, but also allows a hero like Rubik, like Tidehunter, get that EXP. It is gonna be a Templar Assassin! Wow. So we expected the Morph mid. He can still go mid. Templar Assassin on a safe lane is not too bad, but TA is a hero that I'm very, very fond of. Very high action play, explosive play. And I do believe she has enough backup in this situation to really go for those kills. Venomancer, Chen, and even Invoker, easy kills, very easy kills. If you pick them off early, the teamfight gets very lopsided very quick.
Yeah, but like you talked about, there's defensive firepower on mTw's side between the Gale, if it's an EMP, Tornado Invoker, and the move speed for him, the defensive capability of the Tornado, the Chen heal, send back to base, the Wind Run, and most importantly for me, it's mTw already has a Venomancer. And we've seen Venomancer versus TA can really struggle, so now it begs the question who's going to lane where. I'm thinking what we might see is maybe a TA not actually in the solo mid position, even though that's where she normally goes. I would say probably safe lane for her. I think I've seen one team run her off lane. And then Protector, maybe with the Enchantress, maybe... Okay, here's what I think right now. Probably Morphling solo mid, Rubik, Templar Assassin, and Enchantress defensive tri-lane, and the Tidehunter in the off lane. That's what I expect for TongFu. But they do have options, and that's the beauty of their draft.
We are on sync. That's exactly what I expect as well. But, I mean, when we see teams pick 5 semi-carries like TongFu did last time, and when we see Panda being placed as support to Morphling, I mean, anything could happen. So let's not... it's not for sure. But for now, on the other side, what is mTw looking for?
They need... Here's my concern for them. They really need initiation right now. Oh, there you go. I love the pick. Gives you so many... Everyone on TongFu will be miserable if this Riki gets a good start. I was going to say they kind of need Initiator. I was thinking like a stunning type hero. But then they need someone to deal the damage. And this gives them a damager who can initiate with that Cloud. We've seen Riki can counter heroes like Anti-Mage. He could definitely counter Morphling if the Cloud is well placed. But doesn't offer you much in the laning stage. Still, the 4 backing him up are very strong at that point. So this pick could definitely work, man.
Yep. Well, time as good as ever to introduce the players. Kebab going to be handling the Chen. Seems like he's defensive jungling for now. We have Sock going to be playing the Ricky Maru, or Ricky. fckingmad's going to be playing the Venomancer. Both teams very, very mannered, greeting each other at good luck. Synderen going to be handling his Invoker going mid for sure. Has the buildings of a Quaswex build, although that could very easily change. And funzii, back to his good old long lane Windrunner. Man, he knows this hero so well.
Yeah, we'll see how he does in that lane. Mu is going to be handling the TA. It looks like he is rushing a bottle. Maybe he is going solo mid. How going to be playing that Morph lane. Rate of Protection picked up, going for the early rate of Basilius, and that is something to keep in mind as a pocket option for both teams, is that early push out of the jungle. Rate of Basilius on the carry, and then whether it's the Enchantress or the Chen coming out of the jungle, with some creeps to go for the push. But meanwhile, it is Sangcheng playing the Rubik, normally a support or even off lane for TongFu. Looks like he will be playing support in the safe lane here. And finally, up top, it's going to be Kabu handling the Tidehunter. Will be in the off lane, and the last time we saw Kabu off lane Tidehunter, let's put it mildly put, he did not have a fun time.
And as a Tide, I mean, what do you really do? He's not the best counter pusher. He's not really the best survivaler like a Darkseer or a Windrunner would be. He just hopes that the enemy support makes enough mistakes where he could leech up to a level 3. Level 2 if he's, very unlucky. He just wants to leech EXP. And against, mTw, I imagine fckingmad's going to keep him out of lane.
Yeah, we'll see how good he is at doing that. Conversely, let's look at the Windrunner lane. Can they actually shut this Windrunner down? Morphling pretty strong once he gets a bit of a level advantage. If Awoke gets the right creeps, they might be able to do it. They might be able to find some kills. Looks like Sangcheng is journeying up top, placing down a ward to try and protect. Look at the investment to protect Mu right now. They want to make sure no backstab shenanigans. Even if there's a smoke gank, as long as Mu periodically checks the map, he will not get caught out by the Shen. I love the decision. Top lane, it's already Kabu down to half health, 1 Gale, couple of auto attacks. Expect to see a lot more of this from fckingmad, and with a lane ward in place, he's getting nothing here. In fact, he's had enough. He's already going to start maybe stacking Ancients, maybe roaming, because Hop is just not an option for him right now.
Well, it seems like they're not putting enough pressure for funzii. Already 1.5 at this point here. If you look at how skill build, he took Morph at level 1. Generally, you see this something on the mid lane, but you generally don't see it on the bot. Here comes Sanction on the back, trying to get a little bit of backstab going. Telekinesis is first spell, but not going to use it until funzii uses the wind run. For now, Hao is getting absolute free farm, and is he connecting 4 and 2. So he's missed like 2 so far, but got 2 denied, so not too bad.
Yeah, Mu's also getting good farm, and that's the nice thing about this lineup for TongFu. It's not all on the Morphling shoulders.
Right.
We've seen in the past when teams pick Morphling, like last game, there was a lot expected of that Morphling as far as damage goes. But this time around, not the case at all. Mu already level 3, 2 points into Refraction, and that's got to be a concern as you're not putting Venomancer mid. We've seen teams have just dominated TA 1v1 with Venom mid, but if you give TA a good start, it's so hard to deal with her later on. Bottle already picked up. Still, for mTw, the big bright spot here, Sasha getting free farm, the Chen as well having a great time in the jungle. But it's going to be up to them to make something happen in the mid game, because synderen is not winning mid, he's not having a good time there, and bottom lane is absolute free farm, and funzii being shut down as well.
Yep. Well, I mean, funzii, he's 1.5. So if he gets that 2, he gets significantly better. You can see that both support right now is just going for the runes, and Kabu making himself very useful despite not actually getting anything done on the top lane. Double damage on Mu means he will just get every single CS in the next couple of seconds, or next 45 seconds to be exact. Synderen, though, I mean, how is he holding on the lane? I won't say that he's losing the lane, but he's definitely not winning it.
To me, the problem is that it's not enough just to not horribly lose the lane. I think you really need to beat Mu in the lane. Because if Mu and the Morphling both have farm, really, how are you going to deal with both of them? Get it, How? God, the fact that his name is How is just such an epic troll. I keep wanting to make bad jokes about it. There I go again. It's going to be tough. Now, the Riki, maybe he's enough to do it. He's going to need a lot of items. So, Sakshka, farming well. But again, he's getting to a point now where, he's keeping pace with each of the carries individually, but collectively they're out farming him.
I thought I was going to talk about how funzii missed the pool timing, but he really just want to hit level 12 during that, or level 2, sorry. Hitting level 12 through the instant will be pretty good. He really want to turn on the wind run and get himself to level 2 by killing a creep. Meanwhile, you saw Tidehunter also stacking the Ancient Camp on the top. So for now, again, both side lanes not getting too much done, but still being useful to the team. And if you're playing side lanes at home, if you're trying to learn a side lane, this is something that you should learn. Check the runes, pull the Ancients. Your team's going to benefit from that somewhere down the road.
Yeah, pretty even, very passive start to the game. After all the aggression of game one, a bit of a breather, which I think is welcome not only by us, but also by the players, perhaps, who are in a bit of a marathon situation. This is, it's not a sprint, it is a, smoke gank heading towards mid. There was a sentry ward here, it died, the observer ward available, but that's not going to spot it. Moo might go down, this could be our first blood. He's got a DD, Enchantress not too far, Kabu not too far up. Oh, Moo, is that the correct way to run? Looks like it might be the Gale. Not going to hit, dodges it with the meld there. Great play by Moo. Great reaction. Yes, meld can dodge E-Gale, even though it is an AoE spell. If that hits, he's dead. What a play.
Yeah, and dodging the Gale is so important because of refraction charges. The defensive charges will get all burnt down very quickly. So that one small play really had huge implication in this laning stage. But fckingmad's right back. He's had himself an invis ring. And this time, maybe I don't think Moo's going to have that quick of a reaction. He might. That's the scary part. He might.
This could be an easy turnaround as long as the DD's up anyway. A Tornado will remove that rune if they use it. But the other problem is Synderen's only level 5, and Wex Invoker doesn't do too much at this point. Cold Snap is going to be good. He's also opted for 3 points in quads. Normally you don't see this much, but it's to deal with the harassment from Moo. It's to try and have some better control and sustainability over the lane. It's just going to make killing harder. Moo charges in, gets the last hit. Gale gets dropped. Observer ward as well. They want to go. Moo messes up the... Does he still have a meld? He does. Long range power shot. Are they actually going to get this kill? It's a long way to dive. Tornado, too short. Level 1 Wex, they're not going to get it. And that was so much investment for absolutely nothing. But they're going to push top, and maybe that's enough to make up for it. Kebap comes in. Centaur in hand. Sakshka level 6 already with treads picked up. That gank mid not working out. That's twice now they've tried to gank Moo, and both times they have failed.
Dude, Sok and mTw Kebab right now is looking for this tier 1, and look at how defensive our TIE Hunter has been. He's pulling, he's level 1 throughout this entire game. We talked about how important it is for TIE Hunter hit 6 as soon as possible, and right now Kabu is just having no luck at all. His teammates saying, good luck on the top lane, and well, tower goes down to Sok right now, and that's not a good start.
Big cold snap damage, one more auto attack, Synderen wants it. Goes deep, but not deep enough. And Moo is just living a charmed life. That's 3 of his lives. He's got 6 to go because he is definitely a cat lady. They just can't kill him, man. I mean, this is where you need Sakshka to show up and help him out a little bit. But all the even though they don't kill him, they do a lot of damage, so that's not too bad. In comes the rotation from Sangchain, only level 3, not getting as much as I thought he would. Could have been pulling bottom, opted not to do so. So TongFu, the 2 supports, the Tidehunter and the Rubik being played by Sangchain, that might be a bit of a concern. They're not really getting too many levels. They're not getting too much farm. And these are heroes that definitely need it, especially Kabu, who is 6.5 minutes in, still level 1.
Yep. And I don't know where he will find that 5 to 6 levels very, very soon. Meanwhile, Hao is having the farm of his life. So is Ricky. Now, Ricky's got the tower, but Hao's keeping back in Windrunner. I mean, who's having the advantage here, do you think?
I gotta say the Radiant. I just think when you get to the mid game, having Ravage, having Rubik, and having those 2 semi-carries is just so potent. For me, mTw, they pick 4 heroes that are great in the lane. The Invoker, Chen, although he's not in the lane, he's a strong laning hero, and Windrunner. These are heroes that you pick. Sure, they have a lot of utility beyond the laning stage, but above all else, you pick heroes like this, and especially so many of them, to dominate the lanes. Riki is the kind of hero that can carry a team through this, but it's a lot of weight on Sakshka's shoulders. How strong has he been doing his shrugs? We'll find out soon enough.
Well, here's the thing though, TIE Hunter, he's still 1. He's got 31 experience in 7 minutes of gameplay. Gale going on the mid lane here, moving a little bit of trouble. TIE Hunter coming in just for the lulls because, again, not going to be able to do much, but telekinesis on the low ground. Great play, Gush, minus armor on him right now, and the Mel hits Ward so much. Oh, Synderen is going to go down. Enchantress draws the first blood. We're about 8 minutes in, and that's the first blood. And I think they are going to transition and push. Kabu already hits level 2 from that engagement, and he's getting every level right now on him right now. So crucial. And on the bot lane, look at how he's not only just keeping Windrunner off the lane, he's pressuring the lane as well. This is one thing that House does very well. We saw him doing it last game on the Syllabur. He's doing it on the Morph lane as well.
You know, that kill gave, even though it's split between, what, 4 heroes, it still gave Kabu a level and a half. That's because he's level 1. So I think he'll be okay and catch up. Trap onto fckingmad. No, not detonated there. Might have been a misclick. Synderen now comes in. Synderen gonna have it right away. The Gush hits. But all the while they're playing with 4 diving, oh, the imp damage, not quite enough for fckingmad. Shackle onto awoke. The heal already has been used. Or no, sorry, the heal is available. It doesn't matter. He goes down anyway. Mu is going to get the hell out of there, along with Sangshade and Kabu. But all the while, it is Hao and Mariki, both of them free farming. For me, the X factor is that Mu still is getting farmed, despite so much aggression being thrown towards him. Phase boots, bottle, wad, 44 CS, got an assist as well. They've invested so much in shutting him down, and they really have not done it.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I think Chen is getting quite farm as well. He's on 4th on the highest in terms of farm chart. He's working on the mech, and once he does have the mech finish, he is going to be a big deal when it comes to sustaining those push or keeping your heroes alive. But yeah, for the most part, I agree with you. You could kind of wash out in terms of Morphling and Ricky's farm. They're kind of neck and neck, but when Mu is really that far ahead compared to Synderen, I think there's no competition. And Mu, is he close to that blink? No, he has opted for finishing the phase first, which is a very good choice against so many slows. And now at this point, you can see Synderen is playing somewhat defensive. He's got to be very careful. He had gank coming his way multiple times, and that telekinesis on the low ground. He's probably still having nightmares about that right now.
That was some sick play, and that's the beauty of Rubik. Is sure, you'd like levels in farm. That's where he really hits his stride, but he doesn't desperately... I mean, telekinesis is a great spell, even at level 1, and there's not too many supports who can say that about their abilities. Gale is nice, but it is not a stun. It cannot reposition your enemy the way that can. Smoke gank coming from Kebap, as well as fckingmad, big wraparound. Meanwhile, the supports are jungling for TongFu. They may get a kill on Mu, but I really like this decision. Rotate Tidehunter down bottom. Riki's going to get free farm anyway top. Might as well just not feed him and try and get something for your Tide. Everybody grouped up. TongFu wants to push against the Wex Invoker if he TP's in. A Windrunner with her AoE. No Ravage. This could be a bit risky. Glyph gets used. House shot from funzii. TongFu maybe just trying to force TPs and back off. Wave in. They clear out the creep wave. Looks like they're going to get the tower unmolested, actually. Yep.
Templar Assassin gets the last hit. I don't think they should really go for it. If you look at the top lane here, Ricky is already teleporting, and he's going to go right here. Morphling waves in. He wants a lot, but unfortunately, in a wrong position. Meanwhile, Kebap getting all the focus. Hand of God comes in right now. Hao very low in terms of HP. Here comes the Ricky. He does get out just barely, and now, here comes Hao. He's shackled to the tree, and now Mu, of course, Refraction not going to do too much when you eat the poison. Nova, Sock, he's on the chase. Blink Strike cooling down. There's a Mel. Is there any detection? Anything? There's a Silence, which doesn't bring you out of Mel, but oh no, Mu's gonna get right click down. Very unfortunate play. I really thought they could have just got the tower and backed off. It was just not a good decision to dive that deep.
I'm almost shocked that they went for that, because it's a level 3 Tidehunter. This team, as great as they are when Ravage is available, they are just not the same team without it. To me, a pretty big blunder, and it's not just the kills. mTw is posturing to take this bottom tier 1. Looking pretty good for them overall. They're definitely, if they were behind at all in this game, they're definitely right back in it after the fight. And crucially, Sakshka almost has the Diffusal Blade, and I don't think there's a single more important item in this game for any hero than that Diffusal Blade. That's going to make life so painful for everyone, whether it's Hao on the Morphling, whether it's, really everybody on TongFu is food for this Diffusal Blade Riki, especially if they get some detection to deal with the TA.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't think the Radiant team, they don't have the spells to be prepared for it. I mean, what is their best way to deal with it? A healing attendant from Enchantress, that's not going to cut it. They really need things like Disruption or Windrunner, and they don't have those spells. Item-wise, they're very far behind getting those survival items, but for now, Mu looking to get the tower. It's going to be destroyed by the Radiant. They're going to take that tower and back off. Kabu level check, 4.5. We're getting there soon, LD. We're getting there soon.
Hao top lane. There's no Cloud just yet. Sakshka with the big burst damage, forcing a lot of morph out of Hao. The Diffusal Blade ever so close. And that's where I would like to be able to create just like custom counters right now. One of them for Sakshka's farm, one of them for for Kabu's level, because both of those ever so important. Unfortunately, the level's not coming very fast for Kabu here.
Well, Sock at this point. There's one interesting way about Ricky once he gets to this level. When you have, like, about level 11, when you have your Diffusal Blade picked up, what do you do here? Do you keep on farming, or do you start ganking? And there's quite a bit of option. Both options is very, very powerful. In this situation, I think I'm voting for the ganks myself, because there's a Tidehunter that's not going to do anything for a long time, and if you keep him that way, you have an easy path of victory, 30 minutes in the game. Where do you feel on that one?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Riki definitely, if you want to... Like, we've seen a lot of the Western teams back when Riki was popular a couple of, maybe 2 or 3 months ago, maybe a little bit more than that. It's been a while. But oftentimes you'd see them, they might go for a couple kills, but Riki would rush first the Diffusal Blade, and then surely a BKB, and that's when he got really aggressive. Once he hit the BKB up, The defusal gives you the damage, gives you the lockdown. The BKB gives you the survivability. But in this game, if you farm that long, Kabu's going to get 6, might even get a decent item or 2 up. Moo's going to probably have his Blink Dagger. In fact, he's already got it if he wants to go for it. Hao's going to have his first damage item. And Ghost Scepter will be very strong against Riki. If that's Hao's choice, I think that would be a great choice. The other thing is once those supports start getting force stabs, once they start getting the mech and the pipe up, which nobody is going for right now. In fact, I don't think anyone's farming one. This Rubik? Nope, Rubik doesn't have it. Once they do get those items up, though, Riki becomes a lot less scary.
Yeah, but they're, again, very, very far off from that. Just nobody has farm, I feel like, on the Radiant side. Look at, there's 6 creep kills on Rubik, and there's, of course, 3 on the TIE Hunter. I think it's time to switch to Networth, and Riki, very far ahead on that chart. mTw, they could take it slow as well, because they are on the Dire. They could actually go for the Roshan. Here we go. Blink Dagger is picked up on Templar Assassin. This is when you get that upgrade on your jetpack or something on Templar Assassin. You could just go and get a lot of kills. But unfortunately, Sok is about to pick up Aegis for himself.
Who needs BKB when you have Aegis? Maybe I'll just get him Ascabadus after this. This is gonna this big. mTw got the Aegis uncontested, no response from TongFu, except some farm. Halif pushing in the bottom lane, Sangsheng pushing in the top, the rest of the heroes farming the jungle a touch. So it's not like they didn't get anything, but definitely not what you want. You'd love to get a tower, you'd love to get some kills in return. And with this Aegis up on Sakshka, mTw may be able to do what they're posturing to do now, which is just group up mid, start pushing. You've got your phase boots up on multiple heroes, you've got the Diffusal Blade, you've got pretty much all the big items. Awoke gets caught out. There's the, will it be enough? Sakshka dropping low, great chain stun there from the Centaur. Kabu charges in, still level 5, more of a distraction. Though Sakshka will go down, has the Aegis coming right back after these messages. Telekinesis, stunning 3 heroes, great telekinesis, and an Aegis for nada. Oh, they do get a TA, but really, I don't think that, oh! Great snipe by funzii. Whoa, that was from long range. So they get 2, and now the Aegis expenditure looks a bit better.
Yep, they got 1 tower. They're looking for a second right now. No position to defend is TongFu. Nice shackle from the illusion onto the Morphling. Morphling has to back off at this point. Maybe he's going to do a one last waveform in and replicate back out, but really it's not going to defend the tower. And Sok and his team taking advantage. This is what mTw really struggle in the past when they're going through the West qualifier. If you remember this far back, where they have a lead and they don't press for it. But right now, mTw, they are pressing this lead big time.
It amazes me that Hao is still the highest farmer in the game right now. 7k gold, but again, this is just Morphling not contributing this early. You're completely right about mTw, though. It's a team that struggled in the past to know when it's their moment to push. I would say when it's their moment to press the advantage. And I would say Complexity had that issue as well, but both of those teams have gotten a lot better at finding their openings, choosing their spots. Still, I don't think they're out of the woods yet. The Riki is big, but you lost the Aegis. That's not available to work with for quite a while. He is still very squishy, and that Ravage has to be coming soon. In fact, Kabu finally got it. Stopped the clock. I think it was around 16 minutes when Kabu hits level 6. As an off-lane solo, but still a solo. Give mTw credit, they really shut him down. With Ravage up, things could get a lot dicier now.
Well, right now you can see that TongFu is looking for a fight. They are very, very powerful. They see fckingmad, the trap, the blink in. There we go. Mu is doing the big damage, and that's gonna, well, will that be enough? But the long range impetus, whew, that was from downtown, and they got that kill.
I think everybody's been taking some sniper class this game. The Windrunner, Awoke on that Enchantress as well. Just some great long range kills. And really, both teams have that mobility, whether it's the Blink Strike on the Riki, the Windrunner with her range. I mean, Tornado EMP on the Invoker. We're going to see a lot more snipes, I think, even if it's not a kill. Just so many ways to initiate. Impetus, the Blink Dagger, and Mu. I love it, man. It makes for fights out of nowhere, which means surprise and excitement for everybody, spectators and casters alike.
Well, here comes Riki. He's really fights out of nowhere. EMP Tornado, that's going to drain a lot of Hao's mana. Oh, he's in big trouble. He's going to get right-click down the Ravage late at this point. They want to focus on Sok. The trap not getting a pop just yet. And, oh, Mu, he's going to be going down. No, the poison breaking through every charge of that Refraction. Shansheng on the run. Shansheng goes down. Awoke TPing out. He's going to make it out alive. But when you're Enchantress and TIE Hunter, it's your sole survivor, you're in big trouble. mTw again sensing the lead, and they're going to keep pressing for more. Tier 2 is going to drop for sure, and right now TongFu didn't look like a team that just stomped mTw. Both teams swapping the roles, I feel like.
Yeah, not quite as much of a one-sided game as the last one, but it really does feel like a different team. And Kabu, to me, it's the big problem in this game. By the time he got Ravage, it was a great Ravage in that fight. The problem is, everybody's got their farm, everybody's got their items on mTw. And it's just, it doesn't do as much. If you had the Ravage at like the 12-13 minute mark, even there when there was that big fight mid, that would have completely swung things, or even better, the big fight bottom before that. So, you know, whether you want to fault Kabu, whether you want to just fault the team's overall strategy to leave him up there on an island for so long, have him roam so much instead of gank. If TongFu go on to lose this game, that's got to be the #1 reason they did. And we saw a 40-minute gem, or no, maybe, yeah, like a 40-minute gem coming out from M5 earlier today. mTw wastes no time. 19 minutes in, they've got theirs, and they are dewarding all over the map.
And it's a Venomancer with a gem as well. Like anything uphill, he'll find it with his wards. No problem there. So one of the best gem hero combination. Also, to go back to your point on Kabu, getting that Ravage earlier, don't forget, I mean, a lot of us, when we call out the Ravage, oh, it's a big stun, it's very, very important. Just actually look at how much damage it does. 250 damage. That's a very legitimate AoE nuke, if you think about it. And then he tossed in the stun on top of that. So getting this Ravage so late just render it even further more useless when you give the time on an enemy team to grab bracers and things like mech or whatever else. So right now, it's all downhill, I feel like, for Kabu and his team. But this is Chinese turtling, right? They can turtle this. They have a Morphling, so I think that's the only way out.
I'm not so sure it's all downhill. They're definitely looking up the hill, but I think they can still climb it. The big issue for mTw is how do you go high ground right now? I think the only way you do it is a BK on the Riki, and then I would even say maybe they need a sight device, multiple 4 stabs. They do have 1 up on the Windrunner. They're pretty tanky with the Chen, but really force you to fight high ground. If you ever have to turn around and run, I mean, Impetus, Waveform, the Blink Dagger up on Mu, there's just so much burst, so much chasing potential, and trying to go up that hill, up this narrow choke point against the Tidehunter is so dangerous. TongFu can try and throw this. I think they're still in it. They have so much late game damage potential, and so many heroes that scale well. Mu TP's in, charging in towards Kebap. Nope, just gonna kill the 2 Wildkins. Pretty big victory for him here. Cleaning up those creeps, that's gonna slow down Kebap. The tower is defended, did require a couple TPs to do so. Hulk charges in as well. Ghost Scepter for him. He's so close to his Ethereal Blade now. I really feel he just needs to farm that up. Then with the Ethereal Blade, they can look to get pickoffs pretty easily. fckingmad's still very squishy. Windrunner very squishy. Riki's a little bit tankier, but there's plenty of kills to be found on this mTw squad. TongFu just have to choose their openings wisely.
Definitely, that's the case. Riki now, speaking of his tankiness, he is going to have his BKB relatively soon. I think we might see mTw just take it easy for now and then get the BKB. But you're absolutely right. I think the X factor, or how mTw chooses to win the game, will determine, of course, their standing in, walking into the group stage. And also, for me, will determine how well, to be honest, how well they will place in this TI2. Because, again, what mTw in the past, what they struggle with, is walking up the hill against any opponent, any game. So I don't know whether they just don't pick enough heroes for uphill siege, or they're just too passive as a team. Let's see how poised they're going to take this game, because, to be honest, I'm going to say that this is mTw's game, whether they win or not. If they lose this game, they toss it. If they won this game, it's theirs. I know I'm taking a lot of excitement out of the cast, but the excitement for me is how will mTw get this game?
Well, I think, as far as the gold experience graph go, they certainly support your theory. As far as the map control goes, I would say it does as well. The lanes generally push past the river.
There's a Morphling though, so maybe I spoke too soon.
Aggressive farming from the Windrunner. That's the thing for TongFu, is they have so much late game. With TA, Morphling, and, oh, by the way, the best late game support, I'm going to say in all of Dota, that being the Rubik. You can make a case for Shadow Demon as well, as far as those ranged, strong laning supports go anyway. And then you've got Enchantress who does great damage. How many times have we seen Impetus just winning team fights?
Oh, yeah.
We saw it maybe a couple weeks ago. Infused had like an epic 80-minute game. Actually, I don't know if I cast that with you, but Enchantress Impetus damage ultimately won that one for them. And you can't underestimate that here, especially in the high ground situation. I think mTw are doing the right thing. Play it safe, farm up those big items, sight device on Synderen, maybe something else utility-based for... A sight device would be good. Something else wouldn't be bad either, whether it's a Yule Scepter or even work towards a pipe, and get Riki that BKB. For me, if mTw overextend right now, that's going to cost them the game.
Yes. Well, maybe not the game, but definitely give TongFu a avenue of comeback. 1300 go on the Tidehunter. Do you think he's saving for the Blink Dagger?
I guess.
Do you think he needs a Blink Dagger?
I don't know. I mean, maybe even a Force Staff or a Ghost Scepter. It sounds ridiculous on Tidehunter, but he can benefit from the mana, and it helps you deal with Riki. To me, the big concern for TongFu in a team fight is if somehow that Tidehunter gets caught in the cloud, and he dies before he gets Ravage off.
Mid lane here, Mu gets purged. Ravage being used hits no one because the BKB was on Sock. What a shackle onto Awoke. down to no HP in matter of second. Kabu's gonna be next. Another team fight. I don't even want to say it was forced by mTw. It was Radiant just handing it on to them on a silver platter, and now mTw, Synderen is playing basically Invoker minigame right here. He is just having fun doing all these spells. Look at that force up on the high ground here, and now the right click on How. I don't really think they even need to chase How. They could have just go for the straight mid push, and How will be there trying to defend this one. But they see How very low in the mana, uses magic wand up. It's not strength morphing just yet. Waveform's gonna cool down in just a second, and he's gonna go out. Will be Ricky be there waiting for him? Nope, nobody was there. But Roshan is not back yet.
Some M5 style chasing. I mean, that was all the way here, over there, and then in the end Morph escapes down that way. But I'm not sure if you can actually see when I draw on the map, but I believe so anyway. Yeah, pretty long chase to the end. It's all about the BKB. Sakshka picked it up. Kabu was unprepared for it, forced out the Ravage, a little bit itchy on the trigger finger, and that's a blown fight. But even if he hits a decent Ravage, I don't think it's enough right now. For me, TongFu should not be trying to fight. They should be playing it safe, farming it up. Even if mTw is getting a little bit more farm than you, I still think overall the ratio of gold will decrease. And more importantly, you've got the better late game. To me, that's a huge blunder, and especially with Roshan being alive. If they're all back alive, the benefit is they're so low level, they're so under farm, that they come back to life right away and can contribute. But there is no Ravage, so taking this fight is going to be quite difficult. Yeah,
it really is. Ricky just go right in, pops a BKB, he gets shotgun, but the Hand of God comes in. How? Look at his HP, 3 hits! 3 hits from a double damage Ricky. That was it, and now of course no buyback from Hal. There's no way to stop mTw from grabbing those Roshan. Backstab damage, minus armor. Man, Sok is really killing this Roshan very quickly, and the Aegis will end up on him again.
This might be what they need to go high ground. Not only the BKB on the Riki, just the amount of gold that they got swinging their way. If you just look at the graph right now, easily a 2,000 dip, maybe even 3,000 in the space of like 2 minutes. And that gold makes a big difference. Sanction on the bottom lane, shackled, held in place. He will take a fall here. No way he's getting out this. Even the medallion on fckingmad, and Sakshka just slices him up. The katana's there going to work. The ninja himself. And now they're going to get a tier 2 bottom. I just don't see what TongFu can do right now. The only way they win this is if they somehow avoid a team fight. Even with Ravage, avoid a team fight for like the next 5-10 minutes at least. And even then, I don't know. This Riki, 1,800 gold, he is really out of control.
How do you avoid a team fight when they're in front of your base? Oh, the trick question.
You don't?
I guess another way is to do what Moo's trying to do his best, which is keep pushing in multiple lanes and, you know, force a TP or two. They force Synderen to TP. Perhaps they take this 4v5 on the bot lane. Nope, mTw's gonna back off. Yeah, it's mTw, the ball in their court, and they're doing whatever the hell they want. Perhaps they're waiting for the Hex, another Hex Rush. How many Hex Rush have we seen this game? Seen this series today? Synderen about 200 away from finishing his Cypher Vice. And meanwhile, though, perhaps they're ganking these two guys on the top.
I just can't believe it. After the last game, we saw towers just dropping left and right for TongFu. They have only 2, and they have an Enchantress. They had a Morph in the safe lane, and the combination of the early rune of Basilius, the Enchantress who can bring 2, even 3 creeps at level 1. Normally you see those towers fall fast, even against a hero like Windrunner, who was level 1 for a while. So you'd really expect this tower to be down, and then once that's down, normally there's more pressure put towards mid. Really, it's a testament to how well mTw's played this, that they've held on to basically every tower they physically could have.
I think this is a very good time to talk about, sometimes the best defense is the good offense. I don't think Moo and the squad ever passed a river in this game. Aside from that one mid fight, they completely lost. They can't actually go past the river because every time it's mTw winning a fight and then pressure in, pushing in. And, when you can't get past the river, you can't get those towers.
There's a Blink Dagger up on Kabu. In theory, this could be a big pickup. Blink in, drop your Ravage. It's still only a level 1 Ravage, and Ravage is pretty good at level 1, but it definitely scales up well. The stun, the damage on top of it all. So I'm not sure this is going to be the game-breaking item it often can be, but it's something. For me, the big item is going to be BKB on Moo. That will really help him deal with the Riki. You can't target with Blink Strike. The Cloud will not silence you. But even there, I don't think it's enough. There's just so much control. You talked about the Slice of Vice. There's Cold Snap, Ice Wall, EMP Tornado, Shackle Shot. I mean, I'll probably lose my voice listing all of these control abilities if I'm not going to do so already. So it feels like a game where somehow TongFu need to magically pull 2-3 items out of thin air.
And if it's not enough, there's one more. Funzii close to his Cypher Vice, about 1,000 to go away from that. At this point in the game, I don't think mTw need to do, safer buyback or at this point and things like that. So when they have to go, they will just get the item. And here we go. I think this is time with synderen finishing his scythe. This is time to go on the high ground. And let's see how poised mTw is, using their big lead, trying to push in for a win.
Yeah, the Blink Dagger and Kabu, that could be the difference maker we saw earlier. The BKB picked up on Riki, who turned out to be the difference maker in that fight. But here you go. High ground ward placed by fckingmad. Dire had absolutely perfect vision of any attempts by Kabu to rotate around, set up that initiation. Sakshka on the front line. Look at the shotgun. Sakshka almost dying. There's the mech, healing him back up. And that shotgun has a decent cooldown, 30 seconds or so. But the turtly power TongFu looks like they're going to defend this for now. EMP Tornado hits on 2. Hal will be forced back to the fountain if he... maybe not with Bottle and 1. He should be okay. Sakshka, a little bit afraid to go in right now, and it's understandable. Alacrity on Synderen, Shackle on 2. This is the opening. I expect them to go in now. Blink, BKB, Blink it. Ravage on 4. Pretty good Ravage by Kabu, but where is that follow-up? Mu comes in. BKB used up. Sakshka goes down. They killed him once. Can they kill him again? The turtling of TongFu may prove to be too much. Sakshka going back in. Very ballsy play the cloud. Oh. Mu locked in place. Oh, Mu down. How out of everything. Sakshka going for more. He won Sanction. Probably going to get him. The snipe. Another snipe from funzii. How in a lot of trouble. Gale not going to hit with the cold snap. mTw really diving and TongFu respawning quickly. They may get the tower, not sure about the rack. Getting a couple kills, losing the Riki, losing the Aegis. Lumi, was it worth it?
I'm not too sure. They did not get a decisive victory here. Riki blinked in quite early, but that's what Blink Dagger does for you. Tidehunter able to bypass that smoke. And basically, it was Riki against 5. For a good duration of that. Because of that, the Aegis was used, the BKB was used quite early, even the mech was forced onto just for Riki after the shotgun. I think TongFu, they're seeing some ray of light. Sure, they quote-unquote lost the team fight because they lost a couple of heroes, but they pick up a kill on Riki, which is crucial. They lost their tier 3, but they defended. I think TongFu showing some signs of life. They have to play perfect as this game remains, but mTw can't really coast this one through. They gotta still earn it.
This Chinese corpse actually has a pulse to it. TongFu
yes.
Still hanging on. How also 2,400 gold on him, and this is what we were talking about, right? It's how hard is it to go high ground, not just for mTw as a team, but let's credit the TongFu's lineup in this respect. Ravage with a blink, so much chasing and killing power, the burst damage from Hao, as well as coming from that Enchantress who was doing big damage with impetus in that fight, and of course Mu, who did a decent chunk of damage at the start. It's still mTw's game to lose. They did get the tier 3, and there's no Ravage up, and that's why we see them barreling down mid. TongFu maybe not even going to try to defend this. Looks like they are backing off. This is going to be tough.
Great read here. 30 seconds till that Ravage. If mTw, or if Radiant if TongFu turtles well enough, there's too many T's in that statement, but if they turtle well enough, that will buy them enough time for that Ravage. And Ravage is everything at this moment. Again, if you could cut off the mTw squad, you could actually go for it. But this Shackle, the Gwinsu, and the fight starts. Mu down to no HP in an instant. Does he have buyback? That's a question. No buyback here. Still a couple seconds away from the Ravage. He's got the Ravage. No Ravage being cast just yet. Kabu's looking for it. He's looking for it. There's a mech up. Is he going to go finally? Nope. Still baiting. Still waiting for it. But the tower is so low. There's no glyph. They got to do it very, very soon. Blink here from Sok. Still no Ravage being casted on Kabu. Now the Rax has gone down. They are saving it, that Ravage, strategically for the next fight. But that next fight, when will it come? Still no Ravage. Oh, no. They just don't want to use it. What are they holding on for it?
They can't fight without TA. I think that's the issue. At least that's how they feel. She's the big initiator, really. Even though Kabu jumps in, drops the Ravage, he can be ignored after that. There's a mech, there's a there's a mech, there's a Chen heal. The damage is insignificant. The stun, they can't burst anyone down. For me, it's the TA. Even though they can kill her with BKB, it takes a lot to do so, and TA is the kind of hero you can't ignore. So I don't know if it was the wrong decision, but it's not a good sign where you have to forfeit a Rax for free in a 4v5 with a Tidehunter. Defend your high ground. mTw in a commanding lead here. Looks like we might just see our first 1-1 series of the day.
Yeah. Well, mTw, again, still have to earn this one. How much does a mid-rax, for the viewers at home, maybe this is their first time watching Dota 2, how much does it mean to actually lose a mid-rax in a situation like this, LD? That much. That much. You're pretty much dead. That's what LD is doing as playing dead. If you lose a mid-rax against a team that will keep on pressuring with heroes like Chen, you're probably dead. And right now, mTw is gathering the next Gwinsu and looking to get more action going on. Or perhaps we have a little bit of technical difficulties for LD. But I'll keep talking until LD gets back on us. But for now, TongFu holding on the bot racks. Creep equilibrium also becomes a very important thing now. As you can see that TongFu is trying to make sure that they push out bottom lane, mid lane, as well as top. LD, are you back with us?
Yeah, sorry about that. I accidentally unplugged my mic. I'm back with you. I got a little excited and jerked out of my seat. Probably won't be the first or the last time, but I mean, it's a commanding lead for mTw right now, and I would say in this game the 1-Rax matters a lot more than what we saw earlier. Mainly because we saw in that Dare sealed, or excuse me, M5 CLG series earlier that 1-Rax is not enough by any means, but this time around, it's so much earlier in the game. TongFu have much less ability to clear out the waves. They're not on the dire side either, and I believe it was CLG who got Rex first in that game.
Right.
And that means they're not going to have the easy access to the Roshan pit. And I feel like for mTw, with the multiple sites of Ice up, as well as Riki getting really fat, they have their damage, they have their utility, they have everything they need to go high ground at this point. For that second set of racks, just wait for the Aegis, and I think they're good to go. TongFu are going to have to do something. I think maybe a smoke gank would be an option, although there is still a dire ward in their base, which might spot out any attempts.
That dire ward is going to time out very soon, so if they're lucky about it. But they really got to push out the mid lane a lot before they can do that smoke gank, because as you're smoke ganking, it'll be quite obvious when the creeps are in your base and you're not even defending that one. But for now, they see Wimera on the bot lane, who, by the way, also have that Scythe of Ice finish, and also 2.5k gold in the bank. Synderen up to another 1400 after getting that Ogre Club. Are they waiting for BKB?
Maybe they are. I just want to say we have a lot of new viewers, so for anyone who's tuning in, wondering what's going on, this is TongFu versus mTw game number 2. Spoiler alert about game number 1. TongFu crushed through that one, so for everyone who's just joining us now, we're in the middle of game 2. It's a commanding lead for mTw, but they haven't won this one just yet, and TongFu showing some resilience, showing some poise. Will it be enough? We'll have to wait and see. The BKB on Synderen, to go back to your question, it could be a nice pickup. I think it might be an Aghanim Scepter as well. No, something came in. What was that? Aghanim's for Kebap. That's what you need to push high ground, man. Just constantly spam that heal. You can siege all day and night. I think they have what they need. I would be shocked if they waited anymore.
Yeah, and they're going to straight dive for that bot. Perhaps if you even pick off Moo right here, that's going to be key. That's what allowed the Dire team to push in right now. Moo, got to be careful. Blink out. Oh, that was not that close, but it was so important he survived there. You can see the Chinese doing a very good job pushing out on the mid lane. They got themselves a little bit of time, but like you said earlier, mTw's in no rush. They got all the healing in the world, so they'll chill. They'll chill until mid push in.
Yeah, here we go. The siege is going to commence. The ward's being dropped just to try and clear out the creep wave. Tornado on all 3 creeps, and Chen, where's the follow-up to that? Killing off these creeps will help a lot. Hao really wants to get at least 1. Shackle on 2, but it's so deep they're not going to die. That would have been just a little bit too far. If they were like 300 units closer, I think that's the game right there. They do hang on, but they let Sashka on the high ground. The shotgun drives him back a bit. Upgraded the Fusel Blade. Manta picked up. Look at the sieging power of mTw. The Chen heals. I'm really surprised Kebap isn't just spamming this, to be honest. Use it once, back off, reset, reload, come back in, attack the tower. They lose the entire army. Ward's littering the map. This is pollution, man. Somebody call the EPA, because mTw is just violating the environment right now in Seattle. And the tower, one more time, they want to go on it. Awoke, caught out in a bad position. I'm really surprised they're not going in. They're afraid of the Ravage. Blink in. Ravage on 3. Really nice Ravage. Shackle, not going to hit him. Moo. In comes Hao. BKB picked up. Good damage going. Synderen will take a fall. Tornado spinning everyone up in the air. That was stolen by Sangshane. Funzii doing some good damage. Sashka still has Aegis, still has cheese. Goes down once. Hao, the lone survivor as far as the carries go. There was a buyback from Moo. Charging back in. Decent damage. Doesn't look like it's going to be enough. One more Shackle. Blink in. He will take a fall as well. And mTw do it. They break through the defense of TongFu. It took a lot, Lumi. It took a hell of a lot.
It took a lot, but mTw, I think they made 100% all the right calls. And, you know, the first mid push didn't work. They bait out a couple Ravage. They even used the Aegis. They came back instantly before the Ravage was up. They picked off Moo in the beginning, and then they got them the Rex. Secondly, they waited for the Aegis. They didn't overcommit. And again, showing some poise is mTw. And, I mean, they're looking good. They dropped game number 1, but if their picks a little bit better, and if they don't get outplayed like they did in game 1, I think they could go very far in TI2. mTw, though, showing some signs of life, even though they just lost game 1. And I also believe mTw dropped their first match against their opponent. So they got an uphill climb here for mTw.
Yeah, we'll see if they can actually make things happen the rest of the way. For both of these, to me, both these teams have a lot of potential. but maybe they're not as consistent as they need to be. And that's really, this is your time to find your stride, find your consistency in the early days of the preliminaries, as Lumi is also dropping and breaking things, joining me as well, a pair of klutz as we are. Together we are David and David. I am LD, he is Luminous. For anyone who's not familiar with the cast, if you enjoy it, please support us, follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/LDdota, twitter.com/LuminousInverse. But for now, that does it for mTw versus